Hello and welcome to ESLX 167. My name is Cheyenne. Today's micro lesson will be covering Induction Acts 1 and 2 from The Taming of the Shrew by no other than William Shakespeare. Okay, so he was born in the mid-16th century. Does anyone know whenabouts that was? Yeah, mid-1500s. He was active in the late 16th century to the early 17th century, so that's when he was writing. He's survived by his works, so even though he died about 400 years ago, he's still very well known. People know his plays, they can quote lines, even if they've never seen a play or read one of his poems. He influenced the development of early modern English from Middle English. What's Middle English? Is that what they speak in Middle Earth? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. But this is Middle English. This is the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, and we'll go over that in another lesson. So one of the big differences between early modern English, which is, I know you've noticed from the Taming of the Shrew, one of the big differences between early modern English and standard English is the syntax. Does anyone remember what syntax is? No? Okay, I'll be signing ad drop slips at the end of class. Yeah, no, it's word order. So how do we speak in standard English or modern English, whichever? Yeah, subject, verb, object. So, for example, this road goes to the city. So the subject is this road, the verb is goes, and the object is the city. How would you say that in early modern English? You flip it around. It goes object, subject, verb. So to the city, this road goes. Shakespeare had sort of his own way of speaking, of writing. It's actually called Shakespearean English. It's not necessarily early modern English or standard English. It's somewhere in between the two. He bends the language to his will. And he invents words, and we still use a lot of those words today. One of them, right here, he wrote a lot of romance. So he invented the word undress because he needed a more concise way to say it. So here we have in line 118, where Sly is talking to the page who he believes or has been convinced is his wife. So he says to her, "Madam, undress you and come now to bed." So let's look at that sentence. Differences from standard English would be the syntax, right? No. There are two verbs, but that doesn't change anything because it still goes subject, verb, verb, object. However, he uses the word you. He says, "Madam, undress you." So even though he invented these words so that he could say things faster, he still says you. Nowadays, what would we say? Yeah, undress. You is implied. But you still have to get consent, right? There's no such thing as implied consent. You get the consent. That's a lesson for another class, and not ESL, but that's how we do things here in the United States. Madam, undress you and come now to bed. What tense is that? Yep, present tense. And how about mood? You guys remember mood, right? Yeah, it's imperative. He's saying undress you. He's giving a command, an order. He's not yelling it at her, but it's still a command. And to that, the lady replies, "Thrice noble lord, let me entreat of you to pardon me for yet a night or two, or if not so, until the sun be set." Now, be set. What's going on there? My computer doesn't like it. It's because be was not conjugated. They use the infinitive here, or Shakespeare uses the infinitive here. Where else have we seen that before? The Lord's Prayer or the Our Father. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And that means what? Is done. Thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. So this here says until the sun is set. Thrice. Can anyone tell me what that means? It rhymes with twice. Yeah, 3 times. Or it can mean very. So if you have Sly, who is speaking in the imperative, and then you have Lady over here, is she speaking in the imperative? She is. She isn't. Oh, imperative and subjunctive. Yeah, because there's a clause in there where she's sort of asking permission to give a command. But let's not get stuck on that. And we'll skip the Pride and Prejudice because we have a time limit. Oh, I guess not.
Yes. 1,000 times.
So that there is actually, that's archaic English. So that is, Pride and Prejudice was published in 1813, so that's the 19th century, early 19th century. It's a little bit beyond early modern English, closer to modern English, but still has some terms in there, manners of speaking that are kind of old. So that's archaic English. So how would you say it today? Yeah, you'd say it probably the same way, but how about if you're tired of telling someone something? I've told you 1,000 times. So you'd use hyperbole instead as more of what we'd see today. See if we can move to the next slide. Yes. So if you have Sly speaking in the imperative and you have the lady speaking in subjunctive mood, is that grammatical symbiosis or patriarchal rhetoric? It's up to you, I guess. Getting some mixed answers here. My husband and my lord and husband, I am your wife in all obedience. And that's from the lady. So Shakespeare, as a playwright, he was a tragedian, but he was also a comedian. He wrote comedies, romance, tragedy, comedy. Those are his things. So let's say that this was written by the Wayans brothers instead of William Shakespeare. Yeah, satire, right? He's poking fun at it. But what is he poking fun at? Well, maybe it's the Bible. You got Ephesians chapter 5, verses 22 through 24. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. So that's the theme of this play. Love, marriage, and the submission, or, just the inequality of the relationship where the wife is submissive to the husband because she is the weaker vessel. But that's another part of the Bible. Because of the time limit, I'm going to wrap things up here with an invitation for you to continue exploring this literary work as we improve our understanding of English. And I look forward to comparing The Taming of the Shrew to 10 Things I Hate About You, which, hey, that rhymes. Why? Because this film is based on this play. Okay, well, I believe that's enough for today. So until next time.